Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and let me just stop sharing my screen. Welcome to our first online training session, actually organized by the Research Training Unit from the Faculty of Medicine. So my name is Dr. Lee Yu Kong. I'm the head of the Research Training Unit. But I'm not the speaker today. I'll introduce you to him in a short while. This is our first live online session to provide more research training for lecturers during this time in order to prepare ourselves for better online interaction, better online collaborations during this time of restricted movement. So the title for our session today is about using Microsoft Office 365 for teaching and academic use. This is actually brought to us. It's going to be delivered by a very famous person in UM. In fact, he's come on a newspaper a few times already and on TV during this period. He's also a very good friend of mine. So besides his credentials on the internet that you can find, I also want to give a shout out that he's actually one of the people who converted me to online learning. I traveled with him quite a fair bit in Europe for some of the projects that we've been involved in. And it's always a pleasure to see him connecting with his students in his courses back home through the use of various tools, whether it's Microsoft 365 or Dropbox paper. He's always got something up his sleeve. He's always got some way to engage his students in a creative and collaborative manner. So his name is Dr. Zahiruddin Fitri Abu Hassan. He's actually the head of e-learning at ADEC, and he will be bringing us through the next 2 hours or so of the Microsoft 365 Office suite. Just two last announcements before I hand over to him. Number one is you may be wondering, this is a 2-hour session, so is there a break? So yes, I promise you that there's going to be a break. At the hour mark, we will have a short 5-minute break so we can go freshen up, grab our coffees and all that. And also the second one is there's actually if you're on this platform, the Microsoft Teams platform, there's going to be a place where you can ask questions. If you look at your control bar down the middle at the bottom, there's going to be a question mark box. If you click on that, you can type questions into the chat room, and Dr. Zahir will take these questions when it comes to question time. But you don't have to wait until question time. Anytime when he's presenting and there's something you want to ask, just feel free to put that question in, and I promise you to have a look at it. So without further delay, I'm going to hand the time to Dr. Zahir.
Okay. Sorry, I forgot to unmute my mic just now, so I had to start again. Hello, good afternoon. Assalamualaikum. So this is me. You know me as Zahir, and I've been the head of learning at ADEC, and as what Dr. Yu Kong just said just now, we traveled together, got lost together in somewhere in Europe, doing e-learning projects. Today, this afternoon, we're going to explore the use of Microsoft Office 365 for the academics, for teaching, and also our academic use. So let me continue with the content that I have. So the synopsis of the session is actually, if you look at the screen, the synopsis of the session is actually for us to explore the Office 365 environment that's available to all the university staff and students. So we are going to look at several useful features in our Office 365 account, and we are going to explore how we can suit this to our research work, for our teaching and learning, even for things like filing and also general management of office works. Because when we look at the Office 365 suite that we get for the university. Actually, it's quite feature rich. And there are many items or many features that was not really explored properly. And when I did that exploration, I find that it's actually quite useful for us to manage our work. And also, one good thing is manage our research project, because of course we are a research university and we want to do research as effectively as possible. And I think just a few days ago, we've enabled another feature where we can add guest lecturers from different universities into teams, which is really, really great. I will walk through it a little bit later. Okay, so after completing this workshop, so this is of course academics, we cannot run away from learning outcomes. So this is our learning outcome today. After the completion of this workshop, then you should be able to do at least 3 things, I hope, and a little bit more if you do the exploration. So first, we will help you to manage your course files, collaborate on faculty and departmental level works, and manage your research students and groups using Teams. Then we are going to look at how to get your students to learn effectively and collaboratively using the online document that we have in Teams. And then the third one, create documents that resides on the cloud so that you could access them anytime, anywhere you have internet connection. And you don't have to worry about if your laptop's lost, for example, you left it somewhere in the airport and then all the works are gone. So you don't have to worry about that, because every document that you created will be actually saved anywhere where you can access them. Okay, so the first thing that I would like to introduce to you is what is Office 365. This is actually the what I got from Office 365 website. Okay, so these are the 2 things. The first one is the control that you need. So that means that you can have all the requirements or all the applications that you need to fulfill your requirements when doing office work. You have Word, you have Excel, you have PowerPoint, but then you have a little bit more, which is SharePoint, Teams, which I'm going to go into a little bit later. And you also have access to Microsoft OneDrive. Okay, and the good thing about Office 365, the account that we have, the institutional account, is that it's the latest Office application. That means both on the desktop and the online version, everything is updated by Microsoft, and we don't have to download upgrades all over again. Okay, and it's all on your device. I will share a little bit later. It's downloadable to 5 devices, so it can be in your desktop, in your tablet, in your phone, and anywhere you can open up a computer or laptop and log into the Office 365 account. And it's in the cloud. That means everything is saved in the cloud. What you do is just fetch the document where and when you want to fetch the document online, provided that you have internet connection, of course. Okay, so what's included in our license, the UM365 account license? We have all the productivity tools. That means if you look at the picture next to that, you have Excel, you have OneDrive, you have OneNote, you have forms, you can do presentations with PowerPoint and Sway, and then you can do on plan and collaborate on office works with SharePoint and Teams. Okay, and then you can there are also other items, things like Outlook, which is an email account that comes with the account that we have, the subscription that we have. And then we have 5 installation license. That means apart from installing 1 copy in your office computer, you'll be able to download and save and install the copy of the license Office 365 for your laptop. for your home computer. Okay, so you already used up 3 now, and then you can install one in your partner's or wife's computer. So that is another one, and then you have one more that you can probably download and install in your father-in-law, mother-in-law's computer. They will be happy for it. So file installation license, you can install it anywhere you want, and that comes with the account that we have. You have also access to 1 terabyte of storage in your personal OneDrive. That means personal OneDrive that nobody else can access other than the ones that you give sharing rights to. Okay, and 1 terabyte is really, really big. My laptop is only 500 gigabytes. So 1 terabyte normally would be for mid-range personal computers that anybody would normally have in your office. Even my office storage hard drive in Alam Bena, I'm actually also teaching in Alam Bena. My office hard drive is only 250 gigabytes. So 1 terabyte is much bigger than what I have in my office actually. So let's go into our schedule for today. So we are going to continue with all the learning outcomes that we have, and then we are going to go through them one by one. Okay. The first one I wanted to share with you is the feature in your Office 365, which is SharePoint. Okay. So SharePoint can help you manage your course files, collaborate on faculty and also departmental work. So that means if you are a member of a department, so in FOM it will be either the ones that I know is anatomy, and then I also know SPM, and also I think that's about it. But I'm sure that there will be a lot of departments in FOM in any other departments, faculties in UM. So SharePoint, I find that it's good for us to collaborate on the faculty and departmental work. I will show you how we do that a little bit later. And what's good about SharePoint is you can collaborate on the work that you have together with your colleagues in your department. So I'm going to show you a few examples, so it's easier for you to understand when I show you examples. So this is a sample of what I have in my department. So I'm working for 2 departments. One is building surveying department in Faculty of Built Environment, and also I am part of ADEC. So for building surveying departments, you can see that this is actually my course files. So in our departmental SharePoint, so all these are actually my course codes, and inside will be the files, the standard files for my courses that I teach. So there will be the pro forma, the SLT, the all the resources for the courses, and I arrange it by the semester that I'm teaching. So I obviously this is just a picture of it, but I can actually show you how it works a little bit later. I'll go through this first, and then of course in the department itself, this is a folder for documents folder for my surveying department, and you can see that we are working on our staff CV, our PISA documentation, our curriculum review documentation. And if you look at the screen at the bottom, modified by, you can see that they are different names. These are actually my departmental colleagues who edits the document inside all these folders. So we collaborate with each other. For example, we had a curriculum review that we just finished, So everybody works on a single document online, and if any edits are made, we will be able to know about it as quickly as possible. And if we need to have edits, we will actually be able to see the different versions of the edit, and you can actually then override or change the versions according to what you need. So it's really a powerful tool, this SharePoint, where it allows you to collaborate on real time with your departmental members on important documents like this, and you don't have to worry about giving the wrong versions to your colleagues, because you are actually working on just that one document, and that one document is continually being updated. So that is what we do at the departmental level in the building surveying department. But you can actually, of course, put this into a little bit higher level. So like what we did is, this is a departmental level SharePoint, but of course you can create a faculty level SharePoint where any important documents that needs to be looked at and worked on together by the faculty members can reside in the faculty SharePoint. And of course, you can add not just academics inside the SharePoint for the department or for the faculty. You can also have your AR and all the other office staff to work together collaboratively in this folder or in this SharePoint. So this is another example of my SharePoint. So this is the departmental SharePoint for ADEC. Of course, in ADEC, it's another part where I worked on. And if you look at the list of names on the side, you can also still see different people modifying or working on the different documents. And we have different ways of actually creating and also storing the documents inside our departmental SharePoint. You can also use Teams, but I will tell you why SharePoint is a better option for Teams, which is with SharePoint, it's more of a permanent structure. So it means that we sit or we stay in the same department for a long time, and we need to have continuity in looking at the different files. And also, for example, you are working on curriculum reviews, so you'll be able to actually go through and look at all the other documentation for the curriculum review, so that you can create and continually edit the curriculum review documents and also other office work documents, so that then you will have a better control of what happens before the curriculum review. All the supporting documents need to be there, so you can keep it in the cloud and the SharePoint. And of course, at the same time, when you need to work on the next set of curriculum review documents, you can just follow on from whatever starting point that you have, which is a great plus in the department, especially when you change leadership. So the new department heads or the new head of department doesn't have to worry about where do I find all these references documents, because everything is in the SharePoint of the department. Again, same with our and any other center that you are working on. Okay, so that is for the SharePoint, for what we can do with SharePoint. So I would encourage you to create a departmental SharePoint. Just one person has to create it and add members into the SharePoint, so that then you can start doing the office work together. Yes, then we are going to look at how you can manage the research students and also research groups in your Office 365 account. And we use this by using Office 365 Teams. So Teams is another feature that we have in Office 365 where I find it very, very useful for us to manage our research students and also research groups. Okay, so Teams is a customizable chat-based workspace in Office 365. And what it does is, for me, I find it that it's good when you are trying to, I would say, collaborate or manage time-based groups. So time-based group means research group, for example. So because research has a starting point and also an end point. When you have that kind of structure, Teams is the best way to manage this, because you can add all the members that you need for the research group, and then when the research ends, you can actually just delete the team. So you don't really have to keep things no longer than you need to. So this is my Teams page. So if you can see in the screen, the Teams have several items. For example, this is my student's thesis. I also manage the outbound summer programs for our department here. And then we also have Teams for, this is the project that we are working on, Erasmus Plus project. So all these time-based research groups are best or can very, very effectively be managed using Teams. So in Teams, what you have is actually the general view for the Teams, and you have two basic items in Teams. First is post, and then the second one is files. So files is similar like SharePoint, but the good thing about files in Teams is that you can actually delete this after the project ends. So when you don't really need the use of the Teams, right? Especially for example, your thesis students have finished his or her thesis, and you don't have to create or manage or keep any of the work again. Then you can just delete the Teams for the students. So now when you have that facility where you manage your student, or when you manage your research group in Teams, you don't have to worry about students losing their laptop, for example, and lost all their thesis, because their thesis is actually kept in the online space, which is great, because I have first-hand experience of students losing their laptop in the airport, and almost everything of her work was gone. So even though you want them to create backups and copies and everything else, but having your students, or having your co-workers or collaborators work on the document together in the Teams environment, you're not going to have to worry about losing your documents again. Okay, so that is what we like, what I like about using Teams to manage time-based groups like research students and also research groups. Of course, one of this group is the group that I'm working on with Dr. Yukong. So ADEC Malaysia team is actually teams for the project that we are working on. It's also an Erasmus Plus project. So let's have a break here, and if you can look at any questions, or you can, if you want to ask any question, we can just stop for a bit, and I'll give it back to Dr. Yukong to see whether there are questions to be answered.
Hi, Zahir. Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm gonna just highlight three that have come up. I'm trying to summarize them. The first one is actually around what's the difference between the three platforms: SharePoint, Google, and Dropbox.
Okay, so I would say that SharePoint, Google, and Dropbox, the difference between the three is SharePoint is part of the Office 365 environment. So it comes from different people. So Dropbox is purely a storage for documents. Okay, and then Dropbox is purely storage for documents. Google and also Office 365 actually have similar features. So it's actually a competition between these two, the Google environment and also the Office 365, the Microsoft environment, and they are um, competing against each other. So you see that the features are quite similar. Of course, you will find subtle differences in between these two. And I would like to highlight when I use Dropbox before for the departmental curriculum review process, one member of our team in the departmental curriculum review deleted the whole folder after we finish the curriculum review. And what happens, every other members have their folders deleted. And that is just because what our member or what our colleague did was he downloaded a Dropbox into his laptop, and the Dropbox laptop, sorry, the Dropbox storage in the laptop takes up the space. So when he's trying to free up space for his laptop, he deleted the document in Dropbox, and every single document that in our curriculum review was deleted, which is really ridiculous. But fortunately, we did find a copy of the deleted document somewhere, so we are more or less safe. So that's Dropbox. So the different environment, I would say that Office 365 and also Google is direct competitors. So they serve similar function. But Dropbox is a little bit different.
Okay, so you've had I think between Dropbox, Microsoft, and Google, you probably are going to use Google or Microsoft for important files, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The second one is actually there seems to be a number of questions around security. So number one is like, how secure is it on the cloud? Number can IT access our files if we store them on the cloud? And the third one is actually if everyone on my department is collaborating and someone makes a change at the same time that I'm making the change, what's going to happen?
What was that? What was the last question again?
So the last one is if two people are working on the same document and they both are making changes, like how does SharePoint make sure that the correct document is stored?
Okay. I actually have a small exercise at the end of the presentation to show you what happens when you can actually collaborate. But I can share with you right now. If you are working on the Word Online platform, you can actually see what other people are writing on. Okay, that is number one. And number two, you can actually go back and look at revision histories. So you can actually see which document has been worked on, and also you can actually revert back if you need to. For example, somebody accidentally deleted a whole paragraph, which is really important. You can actually go back to the revision history and find back that deleted paragraph, and then you can reinstate that, which is really good, really interesting. And I would say that to carry on or to differentiate Teams and also Google even more is that Google doesn't have the Teams function. So that functionality, when you are working on that structure, the time period structure would actually be a little bit harder to manage with Google compared to Teams. So that is what I'm finding out for the moment. Okay, so let's continue with our next feature, or the next learning outcome. So if you could share the, sorry, I'll send the file, or sorry, I will share the screen again. So let's move on to getting your students to learn efficiently and collaboratively in and out of the classroom. So using Office 365 to get your students to work together and collaborate on a single work or single piece of work is really easy. Apart from lecturers, students also get access to Office 365. So their access to Office 365 is a little bit different. So it's siswa.365.um.edu. But the good thing about our account is that the staff 365 and so the students 365 is situated in a single host. So that means you can add your students, and even much better, your students can add you in a document. So what I'm showing here is actually a work by my students. So it's a group of students looking at private finance initiative, and this is actually a screen grab from their document, which they added me into the document. So if you look at the right hand side of the presentation that they did, is the version history, the one that I talked to you about just now, how you can actually find whatever happens before and make sure that that version is still alive in the cloud. So on the 24th of February, which is 24th of February this year, so this is a work that I get the students to do, where you have the names of the students who are actually doing edits in the document. So what does that mean? It means that in the group work, we know people are working, not just one person doing the work for everybody else, isn't it? Which is great. You know that students are collaborating, and you know exactly students are collaborating because you can see what students are doing, who's typing at what time. So so this is just a timestamp from 9:30 to about 10 o'clock, which is in a space of about half an hour. So I can show you another example. So this is again what happens in a different document. So this is from last year, 19th November, and a different set of students working on document recycling still. So it's their work from about 10 o'clock to about 10:30, and actually you can scroll down and you can see a little bit more. So you know that students are working, and you know in the group work students are working collaboratively, which is great. So you don't really have to then second guess that students are not doing their work, and especially when you have different group members, isn't it? And when different group members work, sometimes, especially in bigger groups, there will be what normally we call free riders. So getting the students to know that you can actually tell who is working on a document, then you don't really have to worry about free riders, because you can personally check who's doing the document, who's doing the work, and who's not, which is what students will make sure that they are contributing to the group work. Okay. So how do I then collect all these documents collaboratively? So we know that they can work online. They can work online either during the classwork. Actually, one of these is actually done. Both of these are actually done during class in a learning session that I manage or taught. At the same time, when it comes to submitting their work, what the students do is they submit their work to our LMS. So I still use our Spectrum in teaching and also in getting the works done, but the work was done in the Office 365 environment and then have it submitted using our Spectrum portal. And actually, PTM is now working on integrating Office 365 with Spectrum a little bit more. A little bit more. So they are still working on it. They are ironing out a few things. So then everything is integrated. So that means when students submit their work or do their work, they can actually fetch the document without having going out from the Spectrum environment. They can fetch the document in Office 365 and have it submitted for Spectrum portal, which is really good. Okay, so this is how students can learn and also collaborative, being collaborative in their classroom and in their even outside of the classroom. So you don't have to worry about students not having part or not taking part in the work. One, and another thing which I like about integrating Office 365 with the Spectrum environment is that whenever I travel, I have to go, for example, to conferences or to project meetings outside of the country. My classes still go on. I don't have to cancel classes anymore because I can issue instructions to the students using our Spectrum, and I can actually work on their presentation, work on their essays, work on their Office 365 account in real time. I can actually see the words being typed in real time. We are going to share that, look at it a little bit later, which is I think you will really like it. Okay, so to get the students to work together in Office 365 account is very easy. They have access to it, and they will be able to actually integrate the Office 365 into your Spectrum really well. So having this flexibility, having this ability to integrate these two platforms is actually a really advantageous point for us. So let me show you a little bit more before we move on. Let me show you a little bit more about the settings that I have in my Office account. So I will share with you a different page. Let me show you which one. Okay, so this is what I'm talking to you about just now. My Office 365 SharePoint at my department. So what we have is actually documents that is shared by the departmental members. So you can see that we have the Form 9. So Form 9 is very important for doing the curriculum review. Okay, but we also manage things like these are conferences that we have. So the conferences are managed in our SharePoint. It can be also managed in our Teams, but for our purpose we use SharePoint. And these are the PISA document that we also have, and you can see that these are files that is being used for the purpose of getting the documents out, and everything is done online, so you don't have to worry about different versions, people not actually working on their part of the work, because everything can be checked here. So I can also show you. So this is our accreditation document. Okay, and also we also have the. So let me show you the.
Zahir,
Yes.
there's some comments that the sound is breaking up a bit.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So I will try to slow down a little bit probably. So I wanted to show you again the different ways that we use SharePoint in our department. So this is ADEC department. Of course, I have different important files here. You can manage the. I'm not going to go into the files themselves, because some of them are actually confidential files. But I can show you the folders that we have for ADEC, for example. So we also have written several journal papers. We also have things like claims, where the download the claim forms are being uploaded into the Office SharePoint, and then our AR and our financial controllers can actually download that and making sure that works, or that can be submitted and completed. So that is SharePoint, and remember, SharePoint is for the more of a long-term version of the use of the platform or of 365. So faculty level, departmental level, it's great if you use SharePoint. So for the Teams, Microsoft Teams, what you can see here, so these are different teams that I have. To create or to join a team is actually quite easy. So what you do is just click on at the bottom here, join or create a team. So then you can actually create team. And for the Office 365 education account that we have, it also automatically selects what kind of teams that we need. So class is for between us and our students. Professional learning communities is actually for groups of lecturers working on learning community, talking about, for example, assessment or quizzing, or teaching and learning. So that is for professional community. Staff is for administration and also development. So this is where you do the staff development work, or you use Teams for managing your office staff. Okay, and then also others. So that is for groups, for clubs, and everything. So even students can actually go in and create their own teams for their clubs, for student clubs. So for to create teams for example, for a workshop or for a project, what you do is you create a team for, so either for staff or professional learning community. So those are the two options. But I would prefer that we use the team for staff. Okay, that allows you to actually. Then what you need to do is you need to give it a name, and what is going to be the description, and then you can set the privacy settings. The public. I can show you also Teams account that I have with University of Nottingham as a guest. Okay, so this is for a project that we did. So I didn't get the permission to actually show this to you, so I will not show it. But I wanted to show you that you can actually be a guest into other universities. So I'm included in the University of Nottingham Teams account as a guest for a project that I'm working on with them. And in our Office 365 account, can also do that, provided that your collaborators use their office email or official email. So, for example, you have people that you're working on with in UKM, so you need to get them to be a guest using their UKM email. Or if you are working on somebody from Harvard, for example, so you need to get them to use their Harvard's official email, and then you can add them as team member in your teams, and that is great for doing collaborative research work with different universities, isn't it? And that is what we do in UM and also in the office environment for academic use. We collaborate with people from different universities, and we can use our teams to manage all our research work, and they can actually do the same thing as what other members can do. They can add files, and also they can work on a single document or many documents in real time, which is what we don't do in collaborative research. Okay, so let's have a break for about 10 minutes, so you can start again at 3 o'clock. So for this about 10 minutes break, then you can go get something to drink, snack, for example. If you need to go to the toilet, you can go to the toilet. And I will entertain a few more questions, and then we break properly. So I answer one question, and then we have to break. All right. So I'll give it back to you. I'm giving this back to you, Kong, to continue.
Yeah, thanks, Zahir. So just one question, right? So let me see. You gotta get the most important one. I think there are quite a number of questions that have come in around Spectrum and Teams. So you're in charge of both Spectrum as well as Teams. Some people have said I put up stuff on Spectrum, so what's the point of Teams? Or how do I use them together as partners very well? Can you give us an answer on that?
Can you repeat the question?
So some people have quite a number of questions have come in around how do you work with Spectrum and Teams or Microsoft Office 365, I suppose.
Okay, so actually, when I read the literature, I find that you can actually integrate Spectrum into Teams, but I'm not sure how that really happens. But you can actually integrate any Office 365 account into Teams using the share button. Okay, so let me show you an example of that. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Okay, so let me open up my class. Okay, so this is a class that I'm teaching. And what you do is either you create the link from Teams and then add it into your Spectrum, and that would be the most straightforward way. So let's turn editing on. Okay, I'm going to show you an example. Of course, I have to delete it. This is actually a course that I'm teaching. So what you do is you can add them using URL. Okay, so let me create a document first. Okay. So I will go into my SharePoint. So this is how I work in my Spectrum and also Teams. So I need to know what course code is it, so that then I'm working on the same course in my folder, and then I'm not going to lose anything. So let's say, for example, so that was 2006. This one. Okay, so I'm going to my course file. So this is my own unique way of working on my course documentation. You can also have a different way of working on it. So this is a semester that I'm working on right now. So I can create a new file here. So I would say, so let's create a new document, or let's create a new document. And in this document, what I want to do is I want to share resources and also probably pictures here. Okay. And what I do is I click on the share button, and here, so in the link setting, if I want the students to only be able to view the document, then I will uncheck allow editing. So that means they would only be able to see the document. They don't get to edit the document. So probably that's what I wanted for the sharing of the document. So let's click on apply. Okay. So and I make sure that this is only for per 365 account. Okay. So I'll copy the link, and in my Spectrum page just now, what I do is I add activity, go to the URL, okay, click on add. Okay, so external URL is where I paste the link. So Control V, paste. Then I name it is, for example, sharing process. And I click save and return. So now this is the same document that I'm working on here. Okay, so whatever edit that I'm doing here will appear. So let me show you what. Okay, so editing. Add content updated. Okay, so when the document saves, just let's see. Okay, so the document is now saved. So when I click on this, you will find that it will go into the same document and disappears. The same document, when you edit it in the online file, will actually be updated in your Word document, which is really for sharing of resources. And you don't have to, normally sometimes when you upload PowerPoint, for example, you have to delete the PowerPoint and then re-upload the new PowerPoint for the students. So when you are working from a document in the cloud, you don't have to delete the PowerPoint anymore, because whatever changes that you have is going to be reflected in the document without you having to do it. Okay, so that's how you integrate Spectrum and also Teams or Office Online or any of these 365 documents. Okay, so let's have a 5-minute break, and then we are going to stop. We're going to start at 3 o'clock. Okay.
All right, thanks, Zahir. So we're now at 2:57 p.m. and we'll be back here at maybe 3:05. Is that okay? So we're going to start the meeting again. I'm going to hand it over to Zahir. I think some of your concerns have been around the sound being choppy, so we tried to work on that. Unfortunately, Zahir is stuck at home during MCO, so he can't run out to buy a mic, but he will try his best to project his voice. We've also tried to turn off any fans in his house. So if you see him sweating very profusely, he's trying his best. It's not because he's stressed, it's because there are no fans, no air conditioning. Okay, Zahir, I'll pass the time back to you. Please go ahead.
Okay, welcome back everybody. Yes, so let's continue where we left off, I'm going to share my screen again. So now we move on into a little bit more interactive session actually, and the session is going to start or going to stop probably a little bit earlier because already on this slide just now. So we are going to look at how you can create cloud-based documents. So creating cloud-based documents can be done either in your 365 page, or you can also do it in your OneDrive. You can also do it in Teams, and also you can do it in the SharePoint. Okay, so basically when you do create the documents inside these different themes, these different portals, it will be available inside that portal. So what I mean is that, for example, if you are working on the ATM Erasmus Plus project and you create a new document in there, then the document will sit there. So you can find it in this folder for you to work on it. So similarly, if you are working on the document in the SharePoint, whatever you save, it will be in the SharePoint. So you don't really lose the document because you know it is created in a single folder that you are. So that is quite straightforward. But then when you are working on your Office 365 account and you are in your Office 365 interface, so let me share this page now. Okay, so if you are in your Office 365 page like this, right? Okay. So when you are creating a document here, you can actually create a document from here. What you do is just click on Start New, and then you can choose from whatever document that you have here, documents or workbook, presentation or notebook, even a survey or quiz or page. So when you create this document here, for example, an Excel file, this is going to be saved actually in your OneDrive, okay? Because it doesn't sit in any other folder that you have. So if you go into, for example, your SharePoint, and you go into, for example, my department's SharePoint, when I create a document here, the document will sit in the departmental SharePoint. So it makes it easy for you to trace where the document is. Okay, and what you do is you give it a name. So document, click there, the title, and okay, and you can start that. So when this work is done, so when the document is saved, if I go into my SharePoint, into the departmental SharePoint, you will find that you click on the documents. Document is going to be saved here. Put it as you want to folder. Okay, so you can see that document is already in departmental SharePoint. When you save it there, when you open the document there, it will save there. It's similar to Teams. So if you go to, for example, so it's Microsoft Teams training. So if I go to files, so this is interesting. Dr. Donnie Adams, another person in UM, really good at using Teams. So you can actually create files in here. So what you do is just click on New Word document here, just in document, create, and the document is going to be created within that themes folder. So you don't lose the document because it's similarly with your students. When they create a document, they can actually add you into the document, so that then you will be able to actually work on the document together. Okay, so let's use, for example, this document. I can actually share this document with somebody. So I will name the Yukong here. Okay, and if you find, let me go back. Okay, so when you go to the sharing button and you try to add people, when you just type a few letters of their names, you can actually find them in here. Okay, so when you see in the view here, actually students are also represented. That means we can add students right away to the document. So let's add a form. Okay, and you can actually add a message. So let's work on this together. When you send, he will actually receive a copy of a notification saying that this document can be shared with him and he can actually edit. So this is the beauty of working on uh, the work process in. Okay, so so that is one way to create cloud-based document. And remember, when you create cloud-based document, it resides on the cloud. So you don't have to worry about the documents missing. Okay? And especially with now the problem or the issue that we worry about is actually security. So if your computer or file gets into the wrong hand, then of course have problems. But with Office 365, since it requires login, then you are safe in terms of you don't really have to worry about things losing unless you lose you give out your password. So please make sure that you maintain the normal security. All your documents, never share password, things like that. It's quite basic, it's quite gentle, and allows you to think about making sure how to keep your documents safe. Okay, so creating and the cloud-based document allows you to work on together with your students or with your work colleague or research team. Okay, so so let's try out this feature together. Okay, so I know you're listening from the computer or your phone. So what I have done is actually I've created a cloud-based document. You can actually access it by, if you're using your phone, your laptop, you can actually just type in https
Hi, Zahir.
call word. Yes.
Your audio is really dropping in quality.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I will say this again. So when you are this is an exercise that I wanted everybody to try. And what I did is I created this online document that you can actually go in and work on it in real time. So if you could actually go in, just click on the link and then log into your 365 account when prompted, and then you can start typing in the document. Make sure that the document is actually called Try It Out. Okay. And I'm going to share the document here so that then everybody else can also view what's happening. Okay, so this is actually the document that I am sharing. So if you can go in and type in the inside the document, then then you can actually try out that people are actually working on the same document at the same time. So let me share the screen again for you to be able to see or to share, to log in into the document. Okay, so I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes to play around with it. Okay, I can see now there are already 8 people in there. So please feel free to join in. I see people are typing good afternoon, everybody. So and I will share the view of the document a little bit later. But if you are already in the document, then you will be able to see that people are actually typing at the same time, which is really great. So click on that link that I give you, the bit.ly link, or you can actually type it in COL capital letter and WRD small letter. So type that in and then try and play around in the document. And maybe since we are already in this document, if you want to ask a question, so I will create a place where you can ask question. Put it in questions that I can answer. Okay. If you have a question, just type anything above the dash line.
Type where, Zahir, sorry?
Just type anything. If you have a question, just type above the dash line. Okay. So I will say that so now there are many people already in. So let me share that page, that view again. So because if you are joining in from outside you won't be able to join in, because I already select the settings. Only people with account can join in the document. Okay. Okay, so if you have any question, just type question above the dash line, and please don't delete my typing. And you can actually see who is in the document. So these are all the people who are in the document right now. So Amir Azwan, somebody who is already on page 3, Anwar Norazid, and then Eunice is on page 2. So let's see all the pages that come up here. Really nice. So we are already in page, this is page 3 and page 4 already. We have more people typing. Okay, so we have question coming in. So I can actually see the question as it evolves. Okay, so there is a complete question already here. So can you email your document to another person, or just the link there to edit? Or actually, you can actually send the email. You can email it to a person, but it's going to be using the Outlook account. So the Outlook account is going to, you need to use your Office 365 365 account, which is different URL than your normal UML account. That is a little bit of the drawback of using 365, because you need to specifically use the Office 365 account. So you click on the Outlook, then of course you just put in the name. So and you can type in any question, any name just now. So I remember just now we have Anwar Norazid. So let me try find in properly. Let's look at it again. Anwar bin Norazid. Let's try and find this person. Share Outlook. So Anwar Norazid pencarakan. So you can find that person in here. Anybody. So let's ask now, or do you have to give access permission? Okay, so you can actually change the permissions in the link setting. Okay, when you create the link, you can either allow only people with 365 account, people with existing access, or specific people. So when you have specific people, only the people that you give the link to with the name or the email that you use will be able to work on the document. Other people will not be able to work on the document. You can allow editing, uncheck allow editing. That means people can only view the document, and you can even block download. So that means people cannot download the document. They can only view the document. Really, really great for you to be able to control the level of access that people use. Okay, so let's ask or answer, respond to a few other questions. Can we do voice over or PowerPoint? Of course, you can do voice over or PowerPoint. I'm not really good at it. I tried it once or twice already, but you can always find videos for you to check on how that can be done. Okay. When I created MS Teams class stuff yesterday, okay. So yeah, there will be a few people who don't have the same level of license. I'm not sure why PTM used to do this, because in UM account, UM365 account, some people are given student license, which is I'm not sure how they do the licensing for people, for staff, because some staff, even though they are staff, they have student license. Probably they were a student before, and then when they become staff, PTM did not change the staff level. Maybe that is your issue here. So I would suggest if that happens, you need to email PTM and ask them to check your license, and if possible, upgrade it to staff license. Okay, so that is question answered. So all the answered questions I will mark it with highlights. Okay, so then know that there is, oh, there is a follow-up question. Oh yes, yeah, you can always change the sharing setting later on. Okay, so yeah, you can do that. You can so this is a question from Nurfadlina. So you can ask students to work on the document and then open the whole class to see. Or what I did, sometimes what I did with my students is that I don't create the documents. They create the documents and send it to me. Then you don't have to worry about creating things. So get your students to do it. That's shortcut. Okay, so this is another interesting question. if you create a document in 365 but not in SharePoint or in Teams, can you still choose to share the document SharePoint or Teams? Yes, of course, you can do that. What you do is you share the link to the document inside SharePoint. Okay, so that's answered. Is there any tutorials? Okay, so in ADEC we normally handle staff training, so we don't really deal with students that much. I believe we could actually ask PTM whether they do have tutorials for students, but I find that students, you just show them once, then they will be able to like hit the ground running with it. So they are people who are born with technology in their hands, not like some of us. So I would suggest that they would actually, they could pick this up faster. Can these contributions be saved so that then go back later and responsibly check who did what? Yeah, what you can do. So this is a question from Azina Anwar. So what you can do is you go to the version history version. Okay. So what to do that? Actually, you go to file, okay, go to info, then version history. So the version history would allow you to look at who did what. So if I go into the version history just now, so you'll find that all the list of the people are already 2 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago. So you know who's doing what, which is really, really a great case. Okay, so I think this is also okay. Any version for changes, how to keep track. Okay, so you can actually do track changes. So if you look at the top here, editing, you can actually do either editing, reviewing, or view the file, make no changes. So that is the track changes in this document using the online version. But at the same time, you can still open the Word document in desktop. It will open it up in your desktop. And I would suggest that before you open the desktop app, download the license Office 365 account that you get. Okay, so to do that is actually quite easy. In your Office 365, when you first log in, click on Install Office and just click on Office 365 and it download everything for you. You can also download and install you can also install Skype for Business. So you can, that will allow you to do conference calls with different people, with multiple members at the same time. You can do screen sharing and everything. So the difference between Skype for Business and Skype is actually the multiple users, multiple attendees. Skype. But I would remind you of, advise you that Skype for Business is being phased out by Microsoft because they are going to focus on using Teams meeting. Okay, so Teams meeting. Okay, I probably forgot to show you Teams meeting just now. What you can do is actually in Teams. So this is a little bit more than what we're doing right now. So in Teams, go to Posts. You can select or you can create a meeting by clicking on the Meet Now. So with the members of the group in the Teams, you will be able to actually move from just chatting in the page to going on meeting right away, which is right, very, very interesting. So, for example, you are working on passports or something. Then you are working on setting something. Then everybody is already online. So instead of just typing, you can actually go and conduct a meeting right away, which is okay. Let's look at the question. So there's no more new question. Very good. So I think let's go back to my presentation. So you can still work on that document. I will keep the document live for you to play around with it. Okay. And yeah, I think that's about the work or the session that I have today. So well before 4 o'clock. So normally the online session should not be too long because people have things to do, and then looking at or staring at computers for too long is also not really good for you. So you can have the link to the presentation. The presentation is free for you to download. Yes, bit.ly, and just type in this code. Probably the one of the producers can type this code into the chat or the Q&A chat function, so that then people can just click on the link. So thank you very much for listening to me. Hopefully this session has been useful for you at least. And then if you have any questions, you can still actually ask the questions in the Q&A page, and you would and then I'll answer a few more questions. The one that Dr. Yukong has chosen for you. So back to you, Yukong.
All right, thanks, Zahir, and thanks everyone for joining us over the last 1.5 hours. I can see a couple of questions have come up. Okay, first off, I just really want to apologize for the audio quality. I think this is our first time actually working with the live function on Teams. So do forgive us and thank you for your patience. There's one question that I think, Zahir, which is related to when you showed how to create a team. You had that pop-up box that had like classes, PBL, and different things like that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's actually admin level access. So some lecturers are wondering why they can't see those boxes. Is it because of the admin status that you have?
Actually, it is not admin level access. It's actually in Office 365 there are a few level of license. So those who are on A3 license will be able to see that and be able to actually go in and get that tile with the nice box. If you are not on the A3 license, that means you are on the A1 license. So the A1 license is actually you can still add a group, you can still add a team or create a team, but it's a different. It's on a different, I would say. So since it's a different license, so the interface is different. So that is the difference between the A3 license and the A1 license. Yeah, I think that has to be remedied by PTM. I don't have control over that.
Okay, so they can. I think you can probably write to PTM through their help desk.
Yeah.
Get access or to find out what license you have.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just taking questions at this point. I think if just a quick one. If you have joined us, I think just a quick thank you very much for your participation. Feel free to leave at any time. Do drop a text in for Zahir to say thank you or something. I think we really do appreciate your participation. The other one was actually someone has said there's actually quite a lot of revisiting of the question of how to integrate Spectrum and Teams. You showed it quite quickly. I don't know if you want to show it again or if we should just wait for the recording.
What is no point. I mean, I think it's okay if I can show it again. So what we do is actually we are using the URL inside Spectrum. Okay, so let me show this again. So I'm going to share this document, the collaborative writing document, and I'm going to copy the link so that then. So I'm going to allow editing. So yeah, well, put it obviously specified, allow editing. So click apply and get the link. So with this link, what you do is when you go into your Spectrum, in add activity or resources, what you do is you use the URL. Okay, so with URL, add. Okay, then in the external URL is where you paste the link to the document. Okay, and then you give it a name. So the name would be let's say the name is document. And it's as simple as that to share the document, save and return to cost, and automatically that document will be available. Let me try and look at it on a different level. So because remember PTM is trying to integrate Office 365 and Spectrum, and they are actually doing it right now. So I'm not sure whether they have managed to integrate or not. Let's try and get files. Oh, we don't have that yet. So if it's enabled, if they have managed, then you will see another one. Here will be Office 365. Apparently, they have managed to integrate Google Drive, so Dropbox, which is good. So we need one more, which is Office 365, and that will be another way for you to actually integrate the document. And integration document from the file picker would be also good, because then of course you need to log into your account. So you log into your Google UMail account, then you're good to go. So that is how you can add files. But this is obviously for Office 365 is not ready yet. I would suggest that you use the add URL. Sure. Right, back to you.
Okay, all right, yeah. So thanks for revisiting the Spectrum integration. So I think the other one is actually when we showed the online Word file, different people had different experiences. Some were able to log in quite seamlessly, some couldn't. And I think it's basically that, am I right to say that you have to use the 365.um account, because some were UMMC, some were just the UM one?
Yeah. Okay, yes. Of course, when you are logging in, you need to use the UM365 account. So it's a little bit different than your normal account. So let me share a page so that then I can type it in. So let's go back to the document that we're working on just now. So this, okay. So actually what you need to do is you need to type in, we need to log in by typing this. Okay, so it's going to be username and at 365.um.edu.my, and that is how you make this a little bit bigger. So that is how you log into your Office 365 account, and you know that you get it right when you type in the password. It's you go into let me share this documents now. Sorry. Okay. So when you type in your password, you type in.
Are you sharing the screen?
Yeah, I'm sharing the screen. So can you see it?
Okay, yeah, now I can. Yeah.
So your username goes first and at 365.um.edu.my. And when you type in your password, you use your UML password, but you are going to see DTC at the back. So if you can see DTC at the back, our DTC, then you are in the right place, and you will be able to actually use your offices. But I do come across a few times that lecturers are not able to log in to their account. So probably I've met about 3 or 4 people who can't log in. But of course, when you happens to come across that problem, you will need to actually contact PTM and ask their help, because they will be able to actually get you the right login name, and also probably if you have reset your password, then you need to reset. They need to reset your password.
Okay. So Zahid, maybe just one more. It's someone has said it's off topic, but can I use the QR code login for Spectrum now?
Actually, the QR code feature in Spectrum is for face-to-face classes. Okay, we do find that you can use the QR code for classes that you do with not non-face-to-face, I mean online. But the problem here is that all the IP address is going to be all over the place. So that means people are not logging in from the same place. The purpose of us creating enabling the QR code access is for us to be able to check for attendance in a face-to-face classroom. But I guess you can sort of use that just for attendance sake. You use it just for attendance sake, so you don't have to check on the IP in your Spectrum to see that all the IPs are similar. So that means people are logging in from the same place, because otherwise then in face-to-face session, if you find the odd IP address, that means that odd person is actually logging in from a different place. That should not be enough.
Okay. So it's more useful for face-to-face classes.
Yes.
Than this.
For face-to-face classes.
Than this online attendance. Okay. All right.
But I would say so. This is a little bit off topic. If you want to get online attendance from students, then I would suggest that you use an activity so that you kill 2 birds in 1 stone. So that means, for example, if you are using forum to get attendance, so get the students to use the forum inside Spectrum to reply to your questions, for example. So when they are replying to a question that you have in Spectrum, it will give the reply from the students will be along with the timestamp. So the timestamp, if you read it correctly, then can be used for attendance. So you get the attendance, but at the same time you get students' work. So which that is a good way to actually make this actually work for you, not just for attendance sake. And then of course I would suggest that you also use other things like Dropbox paper. So Dropbox paper is also a good way to get attendance, because so this is a bit off topic. So when you get students to do Dropbox paper, they would have to actually log in. So that is another way for you to get attendance. Yep, back to you.
Okay, I think another thing is, can students, you've shown us your copy of Microsoft Teams and how to set it up. Do students see exactly the same thing? Do they have the same functions on their 365.syswa?
Well, actually, I don't know what the students will see, but when you create teams for your students, so let me share teams that I have with students. I can actually, because remember we can get them to collaborate inside teams for any purpose. So you create the teams for them because I think maybe they will not have the same level of access, so they can't really create teams. I'm not sure, but so this is what we did with my students. So this is the teams that we created for the outbound summer program to Alexandria U for my students. So what I did is I created the teams for them, and in the teams, I can actually add members. So since this is a small group, about not more than 20 people, so you can add member, and you can start typing people's name, your student's name, for example. So let's find someone. So let's say, okay, so this is a student, my student. So I can actually add them in, and then when I click on add, this person is going to be inside the team. So you can add so many names here. So let's say, this is my friend. So let me think of another person. Okay, so this is also my student. So you can add many students, okay, into the teams group, and as you click add, they will be actually entered. So they will be in the students team, and then they can actually go in and answer questions and converse like this. So this is the team that I created for the students. Okay, now they are already quite really conversant, so they reply with GIFs, and what I did is just I add them into the teams. Then they can start working on it. Then they can add the files. So I get them to download all this permission to travel and stuff like that. So this is a folder for OneNote. Okay, so we created a OneNote. So this is actually we wanted to use this for them to keep a log of their visit. So that is how we use it, and we get students to contribute into the conversation and also the learning side the teams.
Okay. Okay, Zahir, I think it's coming to 3:50. So I guess we can probably wrap it up. I think I'll give you like your final thoughts on it.
Okay, so we've actually gone through the whole presentation, and hopefully when this session ends, you will be able to use Microsoft Teams, not just Microsoft Teams, but also the whole Microsoft Office 365 account that we have to collaborate with your students, with your colleague on doing your office work, doing your managing your students group, managing your research group, and we use this online tool that is already given to us free of charge at our point of view. So that means actually the university is paying for it a couple of millions probably. I'm not sure how much they pay for it, but since it's already there, we should make full use of it. Remember, we have 1 terabyte of storage that you can use. That alone, I think if you try to buy that amount of storage from Apple or from Dropbox, it will cost you a lot. And you have the free use of it. You can get your students to collaborate with themselves, not just for during this online learning times because of the university having to close due to COVID-19, but all the time as part of your blended learning design approach. So hopefully this session has been useful for all of you. So thank you very much for joining us. And I give it back. I give this session back to you, Kong, to close. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Zahir. So we're all applauding. You just can't hear it right now, but you've generated something like 140 comments. So thank you for this session. And for everyone who's still around, I think thanks for sticking around to the end. We're going to edit this before we upload it onto the same link that you've used to access this live session. So again, thank you for joining us from ADEC as well as from the Research Training Unit of the Faculty of Medicine. Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.